Now, what I want to continue is I want to continue with the other parts of the helmet. Right now I will continue with the top part of the glasses. So I will select the polygons, I will clone them with shift, and I will clone as a separate object. This way I can adjust the position and I will change the color. And with using the shell modifier, I will add the thickness I want. As you can see here, I can use the positive or negative shell. So I have right now the overall shape. When I'm happy with that, I will use the push modifier will allow me to contract or expand the object, but this is not what I want. I will make some adjustment and then convert to editable poly to have more control of the geometry. Then I apply the symmetry. This object, because this was not created in the center, I have to adjust the symmetry gizmo. And like you can see, I have the geometry, the symmetry geometry, and it's just a matter to adjust the turbo smooth and see how the geometry behave. You have to be careful with this part of the object that are not completely in the center, because they create weird issues. Like you can see here, I have now my symmetry object, and what I need is to add more detail to the corners to avoid this round effect. Remember that I have two methods to achieve this effect. This is the traditional one. The other one is using the OpenSubdiv technology or the OpenSubdiv workflow. In this case, I will use the both method. Like you can see here, I am using the OpenSubdiv to show you how it works. So let's select the edges, and with the selected objects, right now I want all of them. I will create a new set and I will adjust the tension. But what I want is to have a different workflow for this particular object. So I will remove this edge. I will create again the edge set, and like you can see, I am achieved exactly the same result without subdividing too much the object. Let's see, I have changed the visibility of the helmet just to be more comfortable, and like you can see here, I'm just adjusting the top part to be more close to the reference. The background image is not completely aligned, so there are some minor difference, but in the overall it looks almost the same. So now let's continue with the creation of the glasses. I will start creating this with a simple plane as we did for all the other geometries. So in this case, I will create the plane, I will convert to editable poly, and I start moving the vertex, trying to match the reference, the same as I did in all the other pieces of the helmet. So let's see how this is created. In this case, I will use the same technique, just dragging and the edge to create new geometries, and then move to the vertex and changing the viewports to be more close to the reference. Okay, right now I have to add the symmetry modifier, and as you can see, I need to adjust the gizmo because in this case it was not created in the center of the object. So I have to create this or adjust this manually. Also, I have add the shell modifier to add some thickness like in the other parts of the helmet. And like you can see, it is looking almost good enough using the turbo smooth, but as before, we need to add more detail to preserve the hard edge and all this information. What I will going to do right now is part of the glasses. So for this, I will, like you can see, I am removing a couple of the edge I have. I will collapse or convert to editable poly to have more options, and I will make the adjustment manually. So let's delete again the half part of the object. Add again the symmetry, move to the center, and this is it. Right now I am having the object, and it will use the open sub div. Remember, it's just to show a different workflow, because the traditional workflow is quite easy to follow, and I hope you understand how it works. So I want to show and test this particular workflow. But at the end, the traditional subdivision workflow is the more recommended way to approach this kind of surface. Okay, so let's create just a new set, decrease set, and I can adjust how sharp I want this part of the object. I will repeat the same, selecting all those edges. Remember, I can double click and it will be selected the loop. We're using the control click, I can add one by one. And when I have all the edges selected, I just create a new set, or add. In this case, I will add to the other set I have created before. I will adjust these issues I have here, these small details. I will move close to the top, and I will fix all these details related to the hard edge. So like you can see, working with the edge selection and adding to the other to the selection edge will works very nice, but in some cases it could take even more time. So it is something that each artist needs to define exactly how to approach each particular project. So let's take a look. Let's move the vertex close to the top part of the glasses. And let's make some small refinements. Okay, when we have the overall shape of the lens, the glasses, I will create the lens. For this, I will use another technique. I will select the edges and I will convert or create a shape from the selection. Pressing Shift G, I can hide the geometry, and this is what you get. Just align. I will put all the corners straight, and I will clone this shape to as a copy, and I will scale it to keep it flat. So what I will going to do is that I will adjust the shape to be more close to the reference, and then I will add both lines, both shapes, to use a new technique. Like you can see here, I have both shapes attached. Then I can add a modifier called cross section. This modifier creates a connection between all the vertices. Having them, I can add another modifier called surface. So before adding this, I will make a small adjustment to the vertex. You can see here they are not placed correctly, so I will adjust them a little bit before continue. So I will put in the top view, I will adjust some of them. I will delete some of them that maybe are too small to preserve. Now what I want is to define a better shape, more smooth, without too many distortion. So I will adjust a little bit the vertex, and this is what I have. Now I can add the surface modifier. What this surface will do is add a surface to the selected vertex. I will have to reduce the threshold to avoid any missing vertex in this surface modifier. So this is what I have. Now I can convert to editable poly and start working as before. Like I mentioned, I could do this using the plane and the same technique I use for all the other parts of the helmet, but I just want to show you another a way to approach this kind of geometries. For example, now I can go to add the symmetry modifier as before, adjusting the gizmo into the center, then add the turbo smooth and proceed adjusting the geometry using the vertex to be more precise or more close to the reference. Okay, right now I have the lenses, so what I want is add more one subdivision in the middle to improve a little bit the way they are looking. So let's select all the edges, the vertical edges, and let's try the connection. So right now I can set the flow to see if I can if it is improved a little bit. Okay, I have the edge selected right now, and what I will going to add is the FFD. The FFD, as before, will give me more control using less points or less control points, so that you can see I have right now the lens with the overall shape like I want. So I think it's close to the reference and to what I want to achieve. Then I will collapse, and this is it. Okay, so right now we are almost done. The only thing that is missing right now is the interior surface that will close all the gaps between the parts we have right now. For this, I will use the same technique I use for the glasses. I select the edges. I will create a shape, so that you can see I will repeat the same workflow for all the other parts. I will select the edges of the glasses, and when I have all them selected, I will create another shape. So having them selected, selecting all the edges I need, I will create a new shape. I will hide the object, just changing the way it is displayed on the screen. In this case, I will repeat exactly the same. I will select the edges, and I will create another shape. I will change the way it is displayed. So that you can see, what I have is a couple of geometries, and the shapes that will become the inner part, the part that will close all those gaps. So what I need to do is clean the edge, delete what I don't need, and start attaching them and creating the surface. So for this, I will remove those edges, and I will attach all these lines to work as one. So let's attach them. Select all the vertices and convert to corner. And what I need is I need to have the same amount of vertex on, and start connecting them. I can use the connection. I can, like you can see here, I can use the cross section, but because all those shapes don't have the same amount of vertex, I have to do it manually, creating line using the 3D snap. So I will start creating from one vertex to another. As you can see here, I can refine the line, and I can remove some vertex that I consider are not needed. So I can just start creating the lines. I can use connections to create a line that connect to an empty vertex or thing like that. But in this case, I think it's faster just deleting what I don't need and just create a line from one point to another. So let's take a look. In this case, I'm not worrying too much if there are some vertex that are those faces that have 3 vertex. In this case, for example, I will create a face that have 4 vertex to avoid any issue with the surface, subdivision surface. So like you can see, this workflow is completely different than the other we use from the beginning. The idea is just connecting line using another lines. Later, I will use a surface modifier to give a 3D surface to these particular lines. So that you can see, I am just creating using the snap, and this is it. Okay, like you can see, I'm using another way to connect, not just creating the line. I'm using refine connect. The refine connect allow me to refine a line and then connect with another line. This is a way to avoid the manual process of creating the vertex and then creating the line. Now I will add the surface modifier. As you can see, I have to reduce the threshold to avoid any missing vertex. Like you can see right now, I have a 3D surface that I can use to start with and work with the editable poly modifier. So let's turn on all the object visibility, and like you can see right now, I have the inner surface that will fix all these holes and things like that. Let's add the symmetry, then the flip, and then the turbo smooth, the same as we did for all the other shapes inside this project. So the thing here is just start looking if there's something missing, maybe some gap or maybe something that needs to be adjusted. So let's take a look. I will adjust the color to see a little bit better. Let's go and see if there's something I need to adjust. Okay everyone, like you can see, I am right now finishing my model. This is what I expect to achieve in this particular tutorial. There are a lot of other details that could be modeled. For example, working into the holes in the side of the helmet, adding additional details on top of the helmet. There are a lot of other details that could be modeled, but for this, for the scope of this tutorial, I think this is it. You can see the overall shape of the object, you can see how it looks, and this is a completely functional model, so you can just texture it and render on any particular engine and you will have a very cool Stormtrooper helmet. So I hope you like this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video and share to your friends. Thank you very much. Bye. So this is the final model. This is not the amount of detail you can see here are not included into the tutorial because this is the final model. This is the model I am selling inside Turbo Squid. So there are a lot of additional details that I have created for this particular model. But what I want to show you is that this helmet you can see here was part of this original tutorial you saw into the video before, because I used this model, I have created it for the tutorial, and I continually refining, improving, adding all those additional details. So this is something I want to show you just in case you want to go further with the tutorial. There are a lot of information here. You can use this particular image that show exactly the amount of the topology, the amount of details I have included. So in case you want to do it, here you can find information to continue creating. And just in case you want to purchase the model, here is the price in Turbo Squid. You can find it quite easily by the name, Stormtrooper New Order helmet, or by user. My username is Alzarak. So this is it. I hope you like the tutorial, and I hope you can go as far as you can and make a cool 3D version of this Stormtrooper helmet. Okay, this is it. I hope you have enjoyed the tutorial. Bye.